and welcome to episode 6 of Nothing Else Matters. I'm here today with my beautiful soul brother, Justin. Thank you for coming on and talking with me today. We've actually just been talking for probably about, 40 minutes, and we should have been recording. Oh my goodness. But we're here now, and we're just going to start talking, and I don't know where it's going to go. We could even rehash some of the stuff we were talking about before.
Well, that would be a bonus, wouldn't it?
It would. It would.
Yeah.
We can double talk. But I normally kind of start, I will ask my guest, just to get it rolling, and then we'll go from there, is what matters to you?
Ooh, what matters to me? Well, that's been coming in quite profoundly lately. I'd like to say what matters to me most is freedom. Freedom of choice.
Yes.
Freedom of movement. Freedom of finances.
That's a huge one, isn't it, for all of
finances.
us? Yes, because it's the finances that really give us the choice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When we've got an abundance of money, you can just think and do.
Yeah. And I'd like to add to that as well.
Yes.
Freedom of feeling.
Oh, good one.
Feelings
yes.
are quite distracting.
Yeah.
I find myself when I'm talking to people, I are quite often careful of what I'm saying because I don't want to upset anybody.
Yeah.
It's amazing the judgment behind words.
How we can filter ourselves, can't we?
Yeah.
Like, depending on who we're with.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier about, you can adjust as you're talking with someone to how you're feeling the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I like to, when I'm talking to somebody, I like to either give them energy or raise their energy too. So, but that's what I find myself doing unconsciously.
I know, because we do a lot of things unconsciously, don't we? We just kind of but when you bring that conscious awareness in, there's a big shift, isn't there?
Yeah, massively.
I think when we actually know what we're doing and we are, consciously directing how we engage with people and, what our words are as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get lost in thought a lot.
I know. Justin and I have had, we met at a homeschool group, and oh my goodness, we just clicked straight away, and the conversations we've had have just been amazing, just across, it just spans so much, universally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Talking about spirit and energy and just, this unseen realm. Because you're a bit of an astral traveller, aren't you?
Not so much these days. I used to do a lot of astral travelling through healings and all that sort of stuff. But I got to the point where I stopped doing as much astral travelling because I class it as really sacred. So what I wanted to do was use it only on sparing moments. So it's really sacred to me being able to consciously teleport myself to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I like to look at my experiences as being sacred and mindful.
Yeah.
So I don't like to take advantage of going into the future and having a look at things and, and trying to move things around or anything. So I'm just really mindful of that. But astral travel is one of my gifts, I guess.
Because that's interesting, because a lot of people can astral travel, and a lot of people, I wonder, are they as mindful? Because that's really important to point out, because you can do stuff and change stuff and see stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. But also you got to be mindful of what else is astral travelling as well. So you can get yourself in lots of trouble astral travelling.
Yeah. So to
if
be
you're not mindful.
careful and always protect yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to take us into negative areas or anything like that.
No.
However, there's a lot of astral travelling stuff out there. Like, with our little minute brains, we think, oh, look, I can do this, I can travel there, I can do anything. The world is my oyster.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we have to be mindful of other astral traffic out there.
Yes, which, it's not only other humans, it's other beings and entities and energies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is something I've really been working out over the last, maybe 4 odd years, is, especially the last couple, or especially the last one, is this physical world we live in is actually the smaller part of our existence. It's actually, there's so much more in this unseen world that, the energy side, the spiritual side, there's a lot going on under the surface that most people are unaware of, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think most of us are unaware. I definitely don't know what's going on. You just get to the point where you think, oh yes, I know everything now, and then you work out, oh wait a minute, this revolving door just flipped around and I know nothing.
But I would say that you're someone that I've befriended, that we've and taught with in life, that knows more than a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are completely unaware, but that is the thing, isn't it? That the more you know, the more you know you don't know. Yeah. I think that's the term for it, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, so who are you? What do you do? And I say, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I have no idea anymore. It's just getting cloudier and cloudier. I am taking on greater parts of myself every day.
Yeah.
And I am letting go of old stuff every day. So every day I just keep changing and changing, and I'm at the point where I just don't know.
Wow.
So,
I love that, because I feel like, we get so caught up in this, I'm in this body, my name is Care, I live at this place, this is what, the what I do thing is such a little part really, but in this realm it seems to be so big. But it's actually not very important at all, the doing. But it's the being, but it's the expanding being that we can't really pin down, and we shouldn't try to. Because as we are ever evolving and growing, which is beautiful, we kind of get, the way I see it is, when you said before, it's kind of cloudier and harder to see, is because you can't be defined. Can you? You're not a definable being. You are part of all that is, which is constantly changing and shifting all the time.
Nothing in nature is defined.
No.
A tree doesn't sit out there in the ground and go, this is me, I'm not changing anymore.
Because it's constantly got new shoots coming off, and flowers and fruit, and the roots going down.
It's going through different cycles constantly, isn't it?
Yeah. But we do that too, constantly.
Absolutely. And this is where we have to start recognising the changes and shifts in us constantly. And everybody is shifting and changing on a dramatic level. We're just so unconscious of it, I guess.
But do you think, this time we're in now, a lot more people are conscious. There's a lot more people realising their purpose, and realising that there's more to life, more to heaven and earth than just what we see, and this everydayness, the busyness of you're born, you grow up, you go to school, you get a job, you get a house, you have a family, and the cycle goes round. We're more than that. There's got to be more than that, really, doesn't there?
Definitely. Well, I'm finding that consciousness is awakening in people. I'm finding that people are starting to ask the big questions. And also, I think this is where we're supposed to be heading as well. There's lots of people out there that just want to sit back and watch TV, be distracted, allow themselves to go through the motions every day. However, I think consciousness is just going to come along and stir their pot up a little bit more. It's going to make them feel more uncomfortable, and unfortunately they're going to have to get to the point of breaking. You know, pain is a really good catalyzer.
Yeah.
It likes to really shift things quickly. So a lot of people that don't listen to the universe or listen to themselves will find themselves in painful positions.
And hitting that, like, often rock bottom in order to kind of rebuild back up again.
Yeah.
I think happens a lot.
Yeah, I think quite often you have to hit the bottom just to know where your limits are. And then you have a choice from there whether you want to go up or
stay down.
or stay there.
Yeah, I think most people would choose to go up from there. I mean,
I like to think that.
Yeah, but we can kind of, you know, when we're knocked down to that bottom layer, sometimes stay there for a while because we're like shell shocked.
Yeah.
Because it can be so hard to come back from being knocked all the way down. And I think a lot of us have had those moments in life where, you know, we can lose stuff, we can lose people, we can lose money, finances, or lose jobs, and end up in this place of, that's what we were talking about before, the unknown. Like, the unknown is scary.
It's interesting because we put value on attachment, don't we? So we're either attached to finances, physical items, succeeding, conquering.
Yeah, power.
Power, yeah. So whatever we're attached to, it's quite often the mirror image that you perceive from your outside. So, so what happens to us is we
We blow a raspberry. That's what we
get all
do.
blank and we have no idea what's going on. No, so that's our challenge for life. So once we hit that point where, you know, we lose that attachment, that's where pain kicks in. And that's where, you know, we start having to make the decisions, the conscious decisions of whether we wish to change or whether we wish to go into resistance.
Ooh, that resistance, yes. Yeah, I know what that feels like. I've spent a lot of time in the past. When I look back in hindsight, I love hindsight because it teaches me so much. Those times where I've just been stuck and stubborn, even, and resisting things. And when I finally get to that point of letting it go, that, oh my goodness, like just that surrender, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you have to get yourself to that point of surrender, don't you, in order to, I guess, raise your consciousness higher. So, I also find in that state of resistance, it also gives you multiple choices of whether you want to look at yourself emotionally and how you're perceiving yourself too, because quite often we like to put up a big brave face, you know, like words in society say if you're successful you're kind of accepted in society, and if you're a failure you're kind of not.
But who is the judge of that? Who determines who is successful and who is a failure?
Well, it all comes down to perception, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you know, I see failure as a great lesson, right? I don't see positive or negative in life. I just see everything as lessons. So, you know, a lot of people struggle with that. And, you know, that's where resistance kicks in, because everybody needs to have a persona. They need to say, oh, no, I am this stereotype, or I'm in this category, and I've achieved this in my life. Where, like you were saying before, achievement, what is achievement, you know? But yeah, getting back to emotions again, I think we really need to start looking at the emotions within ourselves, you know. That's like when you hit the bottom of that barrel, that's where you should start cracking open all your belief systems and start asking, how the hell did I get here? You know, because once again, if you're looking at life without good or bad, we're all lessons. So there's certain lessons that have led you down that path, and there's certain lessons that are going to lead you out of that path. So I find emotions very, very important in our conscious awakening.
Well, they're like a guide, aren't they? So as you feel your way, I find, it's like having a compass. And when I'm feeling good, feeling high, feeling uplifted, it's kind of like I'm on track. And when I get these sort of negative emotions, it means I'm not quite aligned, not quite on track. I'm not aligned with my higher self.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite easy when you understand how it works, and just to pause and feel your way and go, well, where are my emotions at? Am I aligned with my higher self? No, I feel a bit off. I feel a bit anxious. Okay, so what do I need to do to think, to change my perception, my perspective, to get back in line with, the path that I should be on, with my higher self? So that, the emotions are huge, but we get so distracted and we dull and try and muffle our emotions often rather than feel our way through them.
I think we put up walls, don't we? And we use walls as shields just to deflect. You got to look at emotions as in frequency too. So, fear. Fear is a really big emotion. Who hasn't been raised with fear in their eyes, fear in their hearts. I know. And just eradicating that fear, that kind of comes from the survival aspect of us. So, fear, when you look at the word fear, it's really the unknown. So when we look at the unknown, we get a bit, shaky in our foundations because, we don't want to lose, we want to be successful, we want to do this and everything like that. But, fear is a real negative energy.
It's very low vibration.
It's a low vibration. So, when you're sitting at the bottom of that barrel, fear is very real because you've just lowered your frequency as low as you can possibly go.
And when we're in fear vibration, we're very vulnerable because we're able to be manipulated very easily when we're in fear. And that's why, when we look at this, what a lot of people are calling the matrix, the societal matrix that we live in, that a lot of things are fear-based, like the news. Oh my goodness, everything is fear. It's war, poverty, famine, violence, domestic violence. It's just being thrown at people 24/7. And when we're in that fear, we can't create our own reality, can we? Because we're too lower vibration.
No, that's where you possibly go into the following trait. It's, the sheep mentality where everybody herds together because they don't know what to do. So it's safety in numbers.
Yeah.
And that's how we've been guided through our life. That's the system.
Is guided the right word, or is like herded, manipulated? Because when I look at the system, it's not set up for the people. It's set up to control the people through fear.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But you look at it from a higher perspective, and then you see, okay, so what am I doing? I'm just putting my responsibilities onto somebody else now. So it's about claiming all your responsibilities.
Yes.
And ownership. So blame has to go out the window. So you have to own everything if you want to be conscious. and you have to then fall into the understanding that you chose to be here, and you've chose to hit the rock bottom. You've chose to go through the whole process and then bubble up again.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm so happy to be here. Like, I think this is the most amazing experience we could have. And I think, you know, when I was younger, I didn't really, when I was really young, it was, you know, it was like life is beautiful, life is a game. I'm looked after, I'm cared for. I was very lucky as a child. You know, I was fed and clothed. You know, mum and dad were like middle class. Dad was a teacher. Mum was a mum until we were old enough. Then she went to work. And we were, you know, modestly, we had a beautiful life. But as I got older, you know, I just lost my train of thought. What was what was my point?
When you were being raised and...
Yeah. Well, I, you know, was sort of, I felt looked after and that. But as I got older, I started looking at the outside world.
Blinkers come off.
Yeah. Things started affecting my judgment. I didn't feel, you know, I probably lowered my vibration. I started kind of being fearful and a bit lost.
Yeah.
And, you know, really I was not taking accountability. I was allowing myself to be kind of part of that herd in the sheep mentality. But then at a certain point, like, I've always been in the herd. I've always been a bit of a black sheep. I must say, like, I never really fitted in, but I went in there and went, oh, this is not right.
Yep.
It doesn't feel right to be in that sort of system where you allow so much and we don't realise how powerful we are in our creative sort of energies. Like, and as I raise, then I really realise, you know, how much we create our actual world, like our individual world, but together we create the mass world.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a really interesting point before. When you was a child, you thought everything was great and rosy and everything like that, you know. But realistically, we've been raised as children, not just from our parents, but from the government system. And when the government raises you as a child, it takes all of your responsibilities away constantly.
Yes.
So what we need to do is we need to get to the point of actually wanting to transfer from being a child, because we're all pretty much children right now. We're relying on the system. We're relying on, well, the system is the financial system as well. We're relying on what to do, what to be told. You know, we're relying on laws, you know.
The rules.
The rules of the system, yes.
Yeah, but even if the rules aren't good rules, though, we still are mostly complying, aren't we?
Absolutely. And the rules, the laws. So we've got a punishment system, so rewards and punishment. So, you know, rewards is you go to work, you get paid, right? Punishment, you do something wrong, you go to jail. Now, there's always somebody who has to pay. You know, if there's a crime, we have to catch the burglar. You know, burglar.
Burglar.
I don't know, I've always struggled with that word.
Burglar.
But yeah, there's always a bad guy and there's always a good guy, and that kind of doesn't sit well with me.
No, I get that.
Because everything, you know, we're living traumatic lives. So we have to have an outlet for our trauma, you know. So if you see somebody freaking out at another person, it's not that that person's actually upset with that person. It's just mirror imaging of, I can't handle this in my life right now. I need to vent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is where people break the law. This is where people get punished by the law, you know. It's a law that's made up by fear. So
it is. It's a fear-based system. And the way I sort of look at it too is that in society, most people, like the majority, they've just got their heads above water, just enough that they can just get by. And then, you know, because of the stress of work, and people work longer hours now. 2 parents are out working, kids are left alone, but they're paying childcare, and the prices of everything have gone up. Like, people get stressed, so they turn to alcohol and drugs, and, you know, they're just making it by each week. You know, people can't save that amount of money. Like, I don't think we're meant to live that way. I don't think life is meant to be like that.
Don't you?
No, I don't you? I don't think you do either.
That system's called bread and circus.
Yes, it is.
So basically, bread and circus is they give you enough bread. They don't want to sustain you. They don't want to make you grow. They just want to sustain you with bread and sustain you with water. And that's what you call the head, just above the water.
Above. And and distract you with all the busyness, the movies, the music, and everything going on. Just keep you distracted so you don't go within. Because when we go within, that just changes everything, doesn't it?
That's where you just go, I don't want to go without anymore.
Yeah. Go within to not go without. It is the way, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because when we go within and we quiet our mind, and then we do connect with the higher realms, with our higher self, everything changes, doesn't it? Like, it will turn your world upside down for the better.
Yeah. How do we go within?
How do we go within? Are you going to answer that one?
Well, the way I've gone within is through emotional stuff. Just really being mindful of my emotional stuff. Releasing and just really honouring ourselves. Well, first you have to find self-love. Self-love is probably one of the most difficult things you could achieve in this reality.
Oh, it's huge.
We're constantly being battered by everything. If it's not fashion, it's movies, it's adverts, it's everything. If we don't have the latest and greatest phone, we don't feel like we fit in. We just want to fit in. And that's what we've had, I feel, drummed into us.
To be part of the mob, to be part of, everyone else. But
that's through fear. So we're running off of these old fear programs that we're actually unaware of.
Yeah.
So, getting me here today to talk on camera.
I know. Oh my goodness. I was so lucky when I asked Justin and he actually said yes. I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you. Because you could have easily gone, oh no, I don't want to put myself out there.
Yeah. So I've got myself to a point now where judgment in my life, I just have to let that go. I have to move on. I have to start reclaiming myself. I have to bring parts of myself in for my own reality, for my own belief, and for my own self-love. So that to me is massive.
I'm so proud of you. I really am, because I know it was a big thing, but now you've done this, like, your comfort zone has just expanded.
Yeah, well, like I said to my wife today on the way here, I just thought, well, if I'm only doing this for myself, for what I can get out of this. So that to me is massive.
Absolutely.
And when you rang me that first night, it was like, my walls went up. It was like, no, this is like a nightmare come true. However, I knew deep down inside that it was something that I had to face. So.
And now you're here, it's not that scary, is it?
Oh, it's still scary.
Really? Am I scary?
I don't know if anyone can see how rigid I am, but
just going to be loosey-goosey.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to move through resistance. So
yeah,
it's good. It's a good process, and thank you very much for.
You're so welcome.
Rattling my cart.
Yeah, I had to do it, but I knew you were quite capable. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked you. Like, if I thought this was not your time, I would have just given that space. But I knew it, Justin. I was like, he's ready to just go boom.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what we're all meant to do, I think. We're meant to, throw that fear aside, because, once you go through it, there's something scary there on yonder horizon that we can literally spend years just going, I can't do it.
Oh, you can spend a lifetime doing that.
Yeah, lifetimes.
Yeah.
But once we go, you know what? I have to. I can't not. And when you go through it, it's never as bad as what you have made it up in your head.
Yeah.
I know that because I've had multiple moments with fear and I've gone through it. And I've been so relieved after. And it's always been okay.
Yeah.
I've never gone through the fear or up to the fear and it struck me down or, there's never been anything bad. It's just on the other side I've gone, wow, now I've grown and expanded.
Absolutely, yeah.
Into something more than what I was. So,
yeah.
And I find almost in a way, not totally, that I'm inviting it now. It's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little bit cautious because I'm still growing, which we always are doing, aren't we? Constantly.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So moving through the fear is recognizing that we have trauma within our body, because the trauma stores within our body. The DNA sequencing within our body has the memory of our forefathers, ancestors,
Yes.
mothers, fathers.
Yeah, all our ancestors.
Our DNA is now opening up to quantum realities, which is really profound and raising a lot of questions. There's a lot of quantum physicists out there that are just really asking questions and doubting what they know these days.
What has been known. Yeah, there's a lot of theories that are being blown out of the water, aren't they?
Yeah.
And now there's new answers and revelations coming in. And this is science, people. Science. And scientists are realizing that life is not what we thought it to be. And even there's this simulation theory, where this is kind of like a hologram. It's like not as solid as we think it is. And life is, more of a dream. It's like we are spirit in our larger self, dreaming that we're in this physical form right now. But we in our human self feel like this is the bigger part of us, and then occasionally we might dream that we're spirit. But it's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't actually going to go there with the simulation theory, but now you've just busted open the cage.
Let's bust it open. I love the simulation theory.
Yeah.
I love listening to scientists actually proving this. They're actually proving that this is not actually a real reality, and everything is atoms and, intention and consciousness.
Well, atoms don't exist.
Ooh.
It's all just made up of light, basically. So, and it goes down to quarks, it goes down to the quantum, and then they've actually gone so far down that it's just pixelated, and which leads to the question of simulation.
Yeah.
We see little pixels on our TV screen. I was listening to Robert Edward Grant the other day,
yeah.
and he's just talking about a 3D reality with just pixels everywhere. So we're constantly moving through pixels, constantly. So then you got to ask the question, our bodies, every time we're moving, so my hand's moving through millions and millions of pixels right now. So it's breaking down and rebuilding itself constantly. So when you start thinking of things on that level...
Oh, my mind's just blowing already.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's an illusion. The movement is an illusion because, they're just reconfiguring in that position.
Yeah.
Constantly.
And hence Bashar says that we have so many thousand realities playing at once. So it's like a still frame picture, and like a cartoon, how they make cartoons and stuff, but thousands of them just constantly moving, which gives you the representation of everything moving around us, and it's mind-blowing.
Oh, it is completely, like, even now I'm just going, oh my goodness, what have we gotten onto?
Well, you open the door.
I know. I love opening these doors and windows.
Who let the canary out?
Yeah, so that would be me. That would be me, because this is a lot of the reason why I wanted to do this show, Nothing Else Matters. Because I feel like nothing else matters. All the stuff we've been caught up in our everyday life, like we've been talking about, in the matrix, in the everydayness, it doesn't matter, but this matters. Like talking about this potential alter reality that not many people, or more people are now, are really kind of delving into. And this is where we have the potential to reach such great heights. You know, this is where people do amazing things when they are, you know, they detach, because we're talking about detachment from all this material, physical things, and allow the potential of consciousness and whatever we might imagine to become reality. Because I really, like, the more I learn, the more I believe, like, anything's possible. Not only is anything possible, everything is possible, depending on what we believe can happen.
If you can manifest the thought, you can manifest reality.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
you know, reality is just as solid as a thought. So, you know, when you get to that perception or concept, that's when you don't know anything anymore.
No. That's when you go, oh my goodness. But thoughts are things, and anything that's ever been invented or brought into the world started off as a thought, like a spark of an idea or something. So everything begins in that consciousness first before it can become a physical reality, which, you know, means that anything that you can conjure in your imagination has the potential to become something solid in this light world that we're in now.
We're in so many dimensions right now. Who's to say that one thought isn't actually coming into reality in a different dimension?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people have thoughts of unicorns and fairies, and they have to exist somewhere.
Because we've created them with our imagination, with
That's
our
right.
consciousness. And this is something, I can't remember where I heard it, but that when we create something in our mind,
Yes.
like in our imagination, in the spirit world, in the ethereal world, they get to enjoy it first. Like, they get that realized imagination, the thought, the thing that you've thought of before it can become reality here. So whatever you've imagined now, your ancestors and that are loving it. They're going, oh my goodness, they created a roller coaster or something, or, you know, the unicorns, the Pegasus, dragons, you know, all these amazing creations are there, but we can actually bring them into this world, this reality. So I wonder what, like, you know, as I'm working it out though, what is that factor that allows it to move on into this world? Like, that's where I think a lot of people, you know, they're striving at, is to work out, how do I get this stuff into this world?
It's consciousness.
Consciousness.
Right, and we're going through consciousness awakening. The
awakening.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's the awakening or just
It's
an awakening.
An awakening. Another awakening.
You know, like, we can't even perceive consciousness as consciousness. Well, it's just a word to us, you know. A consciousness is something grand, amazing, euphoric. However, consciousness is just a form of connection. So when you get that connection to consciousness, I don't know anymore. That's where you just get to the point where you just don't know. I don't even want to go to the point where I want to give it an image or a perception or just anything.
Because then we're trying to define it again and put it into
a box. This is how we got here.
I know. This is what we do in our human world. We do like to intellectualize things, don't we? We like to use our mental abilities to define and categorize and label and put something in a box neatly and say this is what this is. But in reality, we need to let that go and know that things are undefinable, they're unlabelable. And if we can start shifting into that and stop thinking so much and go back into that feeling and following our emotional sort of pathways, that's where more of this creation can happen. Yes. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere.
However, remember, we can only do this from within. We can't do this from without. So it doesn't matter whether you have the latest, greatest car, the latest, greatest computer. We can't use any of them. These are just all distractions from going within. So by recognizing our traumatic responses, our emotional bodies, our parts of self. Now, we haven't even touched on parts of self or archetypes.
Yeah.
You know, that's just so amazing, you know. Parts of self. When you think of you hanging out with a friend, right, there's a certain part of yourself that comes out when you, I like that friend because we have so much fun together, right? So that archetype could be your clown or your, you know, anything that likes to have fun or let go or release, or, you know, your form of getting away from everything, you know. But then you think, oh, my child. When you're around your child, you behave completely different. So we're using different parts of ourselves constantly without even being aware of it. You know, we are so adaptable within our mind that every person we talk to, we use different energy around.
And we can shift and change accordingly.
We ebb and flow constantly. You know, you go to the shop, you talk to somebody at the checkout. You know, you'll be using like a different part of yourself than you would going down the pub.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so these parts of self is what we really need to understand. And you know, there's a lot of dominant parts of ourselves that we like to be in control, you know. So we will bring our authority figures in, but quite often you'll find that these authority figures are there to protect you from all your traumatic figures. You know, how were you when you were going through a traumatic event? You know, I bet you don't want to bring that part of you out when you're talking to somebody. You know?
No, definitely not.
No,
exactly.
That's right. So what you want to do then is you want to bring in something else that's more in control. But by looking at your traumatic person or part of self, that really comes down to shadow work, doesn't it?
Yes.
And that's the fear of the unknown. Again, you know, how many people go through traumatic events and then just wipe it from their memory and just totally unaware of it anymore?
But it's still there because
it's stored somewhere within our body.
And that's the storing can come out in like disease and, you know, and problems with, you know, our body. Because our body is always trying to tell us when we need to deal with something, and if we try and stuff it on down, our body will come up and say, oh no, you have to deal with this, don't leave it dormant, don't leave it here.
And once again, trauma is based on fear. So once again, we've gone back to that whole system again of falling into fear. So walking around, you know, thinking you're in control is really just holding fear at bay.
At bay, yeah.
So there's so many different ways of doing it, but shadow work is the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I have just been grateful enough to have a wife that does shadow work.
Nice.
And I've been her guinea pig,
Oh, wow.
so to say, yeah. And I'm so grateful for that experience.
Could you describe a bit to our lovely people here about shadow work and how that works so that they can start to kind of think how they might be able to help themselves?
So, raising up as a child, I've gone through obviously my share of traumas, my share of experiences, which I don't feel is necessary to talk about. However, I seem to have shut down a lot of my programs. Getting with my partner on a spiritual path, both growing together, has been my best experience in my life, and it's totally opened me up to so many things about myself. So yeah, I have found myself, and I think everybody should find themselves going up and down, feeling the motions. You know, like, I'm having a good day, I'm having a bad day, I'm having a good day, bad day, and so on. And then, you know, you go up and you go, oh, I recognise now I'm having a really good day. But when I'm down here, I don't want to be having this day. I just can't wait till tomorrow comes and be up here again. So what they are is just cycles in life.
Yeah.
So we're ebbing and flowing. So basically what we want to do is we want to be enjoying the present moment when we're up here, and when we're down here, we've got work to do. And nobody wants to work when they're down here. Nobody wants to look at themselves. But I figure when you're down here having a bad day, you might as well throw all your shit in the basket, right? So, and just really work on yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling negative, feel completely negative. I'm useless, I'm no good, I'm hopeless, and really look at the story you're telling yourself.
What are you telling yourself? Yeah.
Why are you useless? And quite often a story will come up, and you'll find it's quite often from either your childhood or a previous relationship or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then that takes you into an emotion, and that emotion will take you into a part of your body, and your whole body represents certain parts of your emotion, and you know, you've got your chakras that store energy and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's about getting in touch with that emotion, and then that part of yourself. It could be mostly, you find, it could be your inner child, it could be your inner father, your inner whatever, you know. And you know, quite often, once, you know, like you were saying with fear, when you're scared of something and you're running away, it's so fearful. But when you turn around, fear just dissipates and vanishes, doesn't it?
Yes, when you face it, face your fears. And there's that, I guess it's a famous saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Because it is the actual, oh my God, I'm scared of that, that does worse for our body than the actual facing of it.
Absolutely.
And once we do face it, often it does disintegrate.
You know, we were talking about thought before, and if you're always thinking fearful stuff, what's that doing to your body?
Yeah.
You know?
That's where the term dis-ease, I'm in dis-ease, I'm not in ease, comes from, isn't it? It's not just, oh, you've got this disease. It comes through us creating that through hanging on to a lot of stuff, isn't it? Like when we can let go, we can actually let go all that disease.
That's right.
But you need to kind of face it, I guess,
rather
than trying to kind of push it down and ignore it. That's when it does ferment. Is that a good word for it? And get worse.
Fermenting,
and grow.
And bubble and fizz.
Bubble up.
Yeah.
bubble, boil
So
and
basically,
trouble.
once you get to the point of starting to recognise parts of yourself, then you can start actually recognising parts of yourself when you're around people. So, you know, what part of myself am I using now? And, geez, I really noticed the difference in my frequency. I raised my frequency here and then lowered my frequency here. Why am I doing that? You know, it's really quite profound. And the concept me and my wife have come to, well, she'd probably say she come to it, but is if you have a bubble here and you're in the middle here, but you know, in spirituality, in the New Age movement, everybody goes, oh, look, I'm a spiritual being. I want to go up in the world. And everybody wants to leave their body. Everybody wants to get out of their body. Astral travel.
Yes.
Everybody wants to leave and move and like, oh, I don't need my body anymore because I'm so light, you know. But when you start looking and going down and going into shadow work, you start then raising your frequency down as well. So the further you go down, the further you can rise up.
As above, so below.
Absolutely, it starts expanding.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we really need to get to. So I truly believe that our path on this earth, or this reality, is to embody our emotions with our spirituality. And we're moving into something so profoundly unrecognized within the spiritual realm that everybody's on board and wants to do it. Hence, this is why we're getting to the point where conscious awareness is raising. And I truly believe that Sam, my wife, is going to be very, very busy soon helping people with shadow work, and I think we're going to need a lot more shadow workers.
Absolutely, because a lot of people look at, you know, the light workers, which, you know, there's a lot of light workers, but we definitely, there's as many shadow workers, and they're both so important because it's the balance between light and dark, because we all have it. It's not like we're ever going to be all light or nobody's ever going to be all dark. But it's knowing both and balancing and, you know, finding that middle path where we acknowledge that we have both, but can manage it. It's like with the, you know, the shadow work and identifying things in us and acknowledging that it's there, but then we can transcend that energy.
What you're trying to say is acceptance.
Yes.
We need to move into, we accept ourselves as a negative being, not that we want to do negative things, and we accept ourselves as a positive being. So,
and it's not good or bad, is it, so much?
No.
It just is.
That's right. You know, we in this reality, we give everything a name.
A label.
However, it seems to take everything away from itself, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
So what we essentially want is wholeness. You know, we want our cake and we want to eat it too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So I have acknowledged parts of myself that are quite dark, and I've acknowledged parts of myself that are very, very light or wholesome.
Yeah.
However, like, you know, you got to blend them together and accept all parts. And that's the secret.
Acceptance of
and
all.
When you move into acceptance of wholeness, that's when the fear dissipates. It just melts away.
Yeah. Because we are too, like, even on the picture, we're part of the one and all, what some people call God or source energy universe. Like, we are not separate from that. We are all part of that. We are a perspective of the one and all that is energy. So, and that all that is energy encompasses everything along from the dark to the light and all the colours in between, which we are part of that.
And more.
Yeah, and we're not apart from that, are we? It's not separate from us. You can never actually not be part of the I am, the God, the source, the universe. Like, we just are. We all are. You are, I am.
Yeah, we
that
are.
glass of water is, the rock, the plants.
That's right. We are the oneness. And when we are the oneness, we are all connected.
Yeah.
And when we come to that understanding of being connected, we also come to the understanding of within and without, are the same. So, and that's where we then start getting to that conscious awakening where we'll start moving into community, and we'll start working as one together. I was thinking the other day, our whole system has been raised on fear. Imagine if we were raised on love, right? We've been told from an age that don't trust that person. Be scared, don't talk to strangers, all that sort of stuff. Be fearful. Oh, it can only be good for so long.
Yeah.
All these
waiting
little
for
affirmations.
The other foot to drop. Can't last. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. Look out. Don't go there.
But imagine, even work, with the rewards and punishment system. How many of us went into the field of work that we truly love? Oh no, I like my job. Do you? Do you really? So you've been waking up 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work to do something that you really, really haven't wanted to do all your life. But hey, it bought you a house, so really, where's your thought system at?
Yeah.
But imagine being brought into a reality where there's love, that person is very trustworthy.
Yeah.
You love doing things for community.
Yeah.
You're happy to go out and work and put all your energy into something. Look at our industry these days. We go there, we don't even want to be in industry. We create stuff that we don't even want to inspect, or the quality is garbage. Yeah. And yet, we have to make it of this low quality, so we stay in a job. Well, that's fear. Yeah. Imagine making something. I constantly hear in the trade people going, "Oh, it's not built as well as it was back in the day."
Because time is money.
Time is money. Yeah, but back in the day, people were unconscious, so they thought they were happy, and they thought that what they were doing was valuable. However, consciousness is going, hey, knocking at your door. Wake up, everybody. Wait up, what am I doing in this scenario? I don't want to be here.
No, can you imagine for a moment if the world we lived in was people over profit, whereas I think we've been experiencing profit over people where it's about everyone looking after themselves. But imagine the world if, like you said, we were brought up with love and in community, and where everybody was nurtured, and schools weren't just all about academia.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word.
Academia, the academics. But it was more about, we're going to bring the children and the parents together and teach our children from an early age how to breathe, how to meditate, how to connect, how to eat well, sleep well. The fact that we are all family, so we look after each other, and the business that we have is simply there to serve each other. So it's not, I have a business so that I can make money. It's like, I have a business because people need this in their lives, and everyone's looked after. Everyone has their own home, because we realise it's very important for everybody to have their space they feel secure in. But can you imagine?
That should be a God-given right, shouldn't it, to have a house?
Yeah, everybody,
and not pay for
absolutely. And it should not be your mortgage to the hilt and stressed every week.
It should just be given to you.
And also food. We should be growing fresh food on every spare little lot. Not only for ourselves, so everybody can go out, you've got food everywhere, organic, energised food, but the animals too. can eat, all the abundance of food. So if
there's lots of arguments for and against everything that you're saying right now.
That's okay.
and in this conscious point where we're at right now, everyone's going, that'll never work. Somebody will take more than what they're allocated.
That's the fear.
And that's the fear.
But if we were in a world that was based on love, there would not be that fear.
Absolutely.
Because it would be a love-based world. Everybody would go, it doesn't matter. As long as everybody's looked after. So if someone gets a little bit more, it doesn't really
Absolutely.
matter. Because we're not jealous, we're not judging, we're not criticising, we're not keeping tabs. We're just making sure has everybody got what they need to survive and be happy? Have they got clean water? Have they got good nutritious food? Do they have their own little piece of paradise, their own home? And do they have community and family and love? Can you imagine that? But this is very important. I've imagined it. So that means it's already created.
It has potential.
It has potential to be.
I think a lot of people are imagining it, to be honest. I imagine it constantly.
Good. And I think we all need to, because what I'm learning about consciousness and this, world we create is, as we focus on things, we give them our energy, and then that is the watering can that allows it to grow into something in our physical reality. So if we all imagined every day that beautiful world full of love, where everybody had what they needed, that's what would be created. And I feel so sure about that, because that's the way it works. That's why it's important for us to be talking, like having these conversations, and on our individual basis, just sit there and daydream about it. Because as we do that, it moves into our physical reality. Yeah.
And what I find with frequencies, like love is a higher frequency, fear is a lower frequency.
Yeah.
So when we start moving into love, we start raising the frequency, which brings in a higher conscious awareness. However, we won't stay in that love, because everything has a pendulum involved to it. So that pendulum then has to swing back.
Yeah.
Right? But we've been over here for so long, it's going to swing over to here, to love, and then we're going to swing to the middle, and then we're going to have balance.
Balance, yes.
And the shadow work is what's going to bring the balance.
Yeah. And that's something that has come to my attention, is that the divine masculine, the divine feminine is coming back round into balance. Like we've had a society for so long that has been predominantly in the divine masculine, like way on the pendulum side.
Yeah.
So that's now like swinging to the divine feminine, and it may be that
it's actually swinging a little bit out. That
too
it
far.
It has to in order to bring balance.
And then it will come to the center, where
That's
we'll
right.
have like the divine feminine, divine masculine, because we have it in both. We have both in us. Like you have a divine feminine and a divine masculine, and I have a divine feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
That we need to have in balance.
Absolutely.
And as the world,
once again, we have to name everything, don't we?
Yeah.
Positive, negative, masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
It's just, I just see it as wholeness coming together. You got lots of people out here in this camp and lots of people in this camp. What they need to do is start looking at what is causing the extreme in their life. If you're overpowering masculine male, quite often you've got fear there. There's some fear of control.
yes.
You've got the overbearing feminine energy, and it's powered by fear as well. So all extremes have fear. So you need to bring it to the middle for wholeness.
Because I do.
Sorry if I've upset anybody here.
We're just talking. This is just organic.
You've got to remember, I know nothing.
And none of us do. Well, we're just working it out, playing it out. But you can, if you have any opinion, anything you want to say, you can write things in the comments. And then when we come back and talk, we can kind of address things, so you can be part of this conversation.
And it would be really interesting too to see if people are getting upset with what I'm saying, try looking at your own story. Try actually going in and feeling where you're feeling upset or disturbed, and then, you know, maybe meditate on it. Maybe look at a part of yourself. Maybe, you know, just go into it and feel. That's all I can say.
Yeah, lean into it. When something upsets you emotionally, instead of shying away from it, we should all lean into it, shouldn't we? To kind of feel our way and go, well, why do I think this way? Why do I feel this way? Because that's when we can actually resolve it and move on from it and grow from it.
It's all about growing, isn't it? Like I said, no good, no bad, only lessons. And that disturbs a lot of people too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I can understand how it disturbs people. However, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That I see.
Yeah. And we all have our point of view, don't we? But this is where I find it really important to be having these conversations, is because sometimes we just need that other piece of information from someone else that helps kind of slot some understanding or inner standing into place. Because we can't learn solely, you know, from our own information. Like, we grow from each other, you know, and you're a piece of the puzzle of this grand picture. I'm a piece of the puzzle, you're a piece of the puzzle, and all together, as we kind of learn from each other, we start fitting this bigger picture together. Yeah,
the way I see it is we have a computer system, and every one of us is an atom in this computer system. So with one atom missing from this computer system, it won't work. Right? So in order for us to all be a part of this computer system, it brings this reality. And that's what brings the whole profound system. The good people, the bad people.
Which is all an illusion, because there's no good or bad.
It's a lesson. Yeah. So we're here to grow.
Yeah. And
without the lessons, we don't grow.
And everybody is an integral part of the machine.
Yeah.
To bring everything together.
That's right. And, you know, I've met so many people that just go, I just want to do the good things in life. I don't want to actually acknowledge my dirt and my grit. But in order to acknowledge your dirt and grit, that makes you a whole atom within the computer of reality. So
that's just as important, isn't it, as the good things, the light things.
Yeah. And the only way we're going to get to quantum reality is by acknowledging our dirt. You know, once again, you look at wholesome with the positive and negative. You come to the middle, you get the wholesome. That gives us the full picture, the full awareness, the full experience. So if you're not actually looking at your dirt and acknowledging and self-loving, you're ripping yourself off somehow.
And because we came here for the experience, didn't we? Like, in our greater self, our higher self, we are spirit. So to come here and have this, what we would call physical body, to be able to, because in spirit form we can't eat food, we can't walk through the waters on the shores, you know, we can't climb cliffs. Like, this is our playground, like this is our learning ground.
I think we've got ourselves to a point in spirituality where we've actually discovered we're not whole. That there's actually more to spirituality than what spirituality thinks. And somehow we've got here into this point where, like I said before, we start embodying our spiritual with our emotional body. Something even grander is going to come of this. And I'm not even going to comment on where I think it's going to take us, but it's very profound.
because we were talking earlier about coding. So we can actually change our lives, can't we, by what we put into the coding of our reality, the beliefs that we have for our reality.
Yeah. Well, like we were saying before, everything's frequency. And when we talk frequency, we talk hertz, and hertz has numbers behind it. Now, I'm not a numbers guy by any means, but I've seen some of Robert Edward Grant's stuff, and he is a numbers guru.
Yes. Oh, amazingly so.
However, yeah, so we come down to numbers, which then, you know, it comes down to frequencies which raise and lower. So, not even too sure where I was going with that.
It doesn't matter because you're just flowing. But it is like, you know, often when I talk about life, I do this thing, this roller coaster, and I'm like, every time I'm like, this is what I'm doing. But that is, you know, that's like when you look at sound frequency, it has these patterns, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
So we're constantly in our frequency of life going up and down as we go.
Yeah, but we're not actually going up and down. We're going like this. We're spiraling. So when you look at it like from a 4D or 5D perception, we're actually spiraling as opposed to going up and down.
Yes.
So
because up and down is just two-dimensional, isn't it? Up and down.
That's right.
But we're not two-dimensional, and we're even going beyond three-dimensional.
Yeah, so when we actually really look at it, you've got a pendulum going like this, then there's a pendulum going this way as well, and one going this way, and then one going that way, and there's an infinite amount of pendulums all happening at once, which create a circle. So
that's just, I'm just imagining that in my mind's eye right now. My mind is popping off all over the place.
Wow. But, you know, we've also got to remember that life is fun. We need to lighten up.
Yeah.
It's not serious by any means. You know, we brought seriousness into it.
I know we
we might die, you know.
Yeah.
When we bring death or an ending to something, you know, that invokes fear again. It's just, we keep bumping up against fear, don't we?
We do. That's, very interesting. But there is a lot of, in our society, fear of death, but there is no real death. There's only, like, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It's all there, isn't it? But when we say in this physical reality or illusion of we die, we just go back into spirit. And then we come back in. So we've all had multiple lifetimes, if, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands. And not just on this planet, but on other planets as well.
Was one image that has been coming to me for years, you know, like the Big Bang. You know, it was just all in a sudden in millionths of a second, just kaboom, everything. The universe has just created itself. You know, I keep coming to the image of just somebody coming up and pressing the computer on.
Start button. Somebody press the start button.
God damn, who pressed that start button?
And then it all started expanding.
Yeah.
What happens if someone presses the off button?
Well, has it got
Power
an off button? You know what? You know, we conceptualize an on button, but maybe it was just a thought.
Yeah. Well, and you know, if I think about the universe as, you know, all that is, the oneness that was there on its own, there in the everything, as the everything. You know, imagine being there for billions of years just by yourself. Right, I'm here. You know, you'd get really bored, right? You'd want to create. It's like, I want toys. I want something to bounce off. Like, if you kind of take it back to self, like imagine if you were just sitting in a blank room forever. You'd be craving to have some interaction, wouldn't you? And to have stimulation. Like, so at some point, this energy that was everything went, all right, I'm everything. I think I need to create, because I can, because I'm all powerful, something to bounce off, something to play with, something to be with, something to do. I want to create wonder and magic, and I want to create life. And then that was the pushing of the on button from like the creative force in the universe. And that's where we came from, and that's where all the plants came from. Because look at, even on our planet, look at all the billions of people, the billions of different people, individual people, and then the billions of plant life and insects and animals and rocks and gems and crystal, like grains of sand. Oh my goodness, the stars. It's like, it's a wonderland.
I got nothing.
You got nothing? Did I just said everything. I got nothing. But imagine the alternative would be nothingness, vast nothingness. So to go from vast nothingness, which maybe it was peaceful for life, for eons, but then there would even God, source energy, all that is, the one, would be craving some stimulation, something to do. Because, create, when I look at people too on earth, I see this innate urge to create, to make stuff. Like, I've always had this urge, I just got to make stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I feel like that is a clue as to the meaning of life, and the
I think
source
we are
energy.
creative beings, yeah.
Yeah. And we are part of the one energy, so the one energy just wants to create things, and also look at some of the main sort of themes of life, like fun. We like to have fun, entertainment, music, joy, happiness. Like, we all crave that in our lives. Love.
Yeah. But look at it. Look at all of our experiences. They're all based off of emotion. And like you say, like, what sort of a musician just has all highs constantly?
Yeah, you need dynamics.
Do you know what I mean?
Dynamics.
I'm sure with your painting,
downs.
You have massive ebbs and flows. Like,
absolutely.
I'm a failure. Oh, I
succeeded. But, good point about painting that I find in every painting or every drawing.
You can just keep adding paint.
Yeah, and it's the actual experience that has the value for me, not the finished painting.
Yes, it's about the journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that brings us to being in the present moment. Like, I found myself previously in the past always aiming and striving for a goal, and always thinking things are going to get better, things are going to get better. However, you get there and it's not that high kind of euphoric feeling like, oh, I've achieved something. It's like, oh yeah,
well, I made
what's
it
next?
Yeah. What comes next? What's around the corner?
It is great, however, to complete goals, and it gives a self-worth kind of feeling. However, I find that when you're in the present moment, there's a wholesome energy that you just keep bumping off of.
Yeah.
You find yourself more constant in your moods. You find yourself more trusting.
Yeah.
And if you get to the point of surrendering to the universe and actually seeing the universe as a part of yourself, you start then being shown a lot more outside of the box.
Yeah, every time, like, I found, I took the leap of faith and trusted in this connection. I found the more I trusted, the more evidence came to me that it was a good choice to trust and follow this path. Like, so the more you kind of keep going along that path of connection, the more wonder comes up and the more amazing things, and evidence, and even just the number trail, just synchronistic numbers and birds and animals that just kind of do crazy things on your path, and you go, oh my goodness, like, you know, that's like, if I don't take that as a sign, then I'm crazy. But just, and it seems so little. It's just like, you know, every time I look at the time, it's something like 11:11, 4:44, 5:50. There's always something, and I'm not looking at my clock going, oh, it's not it yet. I'm not checking to see. It's just every single time, and it's like a signpost on the trail to go, yeah, you're on track. Keep going, keep going.
What about when you become aware of, 11:11? Doesn't that mean the masters are with me or a guardian angel's around? You know, and you know, then it's kind of really enjoyable, and there's a bit of a hype to it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so special. But then it just keeps happening and happening and happening. And that's where you find yourself getting to that balance point where you go, 11:11.
Yeah, good.
That's interesting. I've seen 11:11, 11:33, 11:44 today, and you know, and it just becomes a part of you, doesn't it? You know, and that's where you have that relationship with the universe, where the universe is talking back to you, like with the animals and stuff like that. There's just shamanic stuff just being brought into it, and like you say, it just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. The more you have a relationship with the universe, the more it will expand your consciousness.
And it's like working a muscle. The more you know, I find too, I call it the silent whisper, when I just get that urge to go left, to go into this shop, to look at that shelf, or, you know, to call that person, or whatever it is. It's so subtle, but the more I do it, it's like I've strengthened that muscle, and it's louder. There's no sound, but it's louder, and I tune into it so much easier just by being aware to look out for it, or feel out for it. It's not so much looking, or the signposts too, like the numbers and animals and stuff like that, or overhearing people say the same thing, just, you know, and allowing it to be noted as well. The more I am open to that, the more it comes in. Like, it's like I've tuned into that channel now.
I remember becoming aware too that the universe is actually observing me. I remember that point.
Constantly.
And,
we're always being watched. All of us.
However, in society we're brought up to go like, I've got this, I'm in control, and the universe is like, he's got this, he's in control.
He thinks he is.
And we keep saying, oh damn, I can't get my grasp on this. I'm gonna start moving into resistance and forcing and pushing. However, I come to the realization is, if you stop, pause, go within, and actually talk to the universe out loud or quietly, whatever, and just say to the universe, I don't know, I need a hand. I need you to show me. The universe goes, he finally wants some help, does he? You know? So, and that's how I've found I've created that relationship with the universe. And, you know, people might perceive it as God. You know, that's what prayers are all about. That's what, you know, affirmations are for.
It's
however,
co-creation, isn't it?
I call it universe, and I call it a partnership, and I call it connection. And those words really resonate with me. However, people can call it whatever they want.
We all have our interpretation, and that's okay, isn't it? It's okay for you, from your perception, to see it in a certain way, and for me to see it my way, and for you to see it your way, because we're all coming from our own individual reality. This is, I don't know, I always go like this, you know.
The old blinkers.
So my world, I'm creating and looking at through my little perception, and you are creating yours. And all these 8 billion different realities, I think there's 8 billion people on the planet now, are being created and overlapping each other. But what I have realized as I've been learning and growing is that if I'm holding strong in my reality and my beliefs for my life, there could be mines going off around me. There could be war. And if I believe I live in paradise and I am safe and protected, I will be. Like for all of us, like, because we create that. But if we look around us and believe that we are going to be in war or poverty, our actual life like this, our perception can change. Like, do you understand what I mean in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important. Like, this is why I want to talk about this stuff, because I want to empower people to create their piece of paradise through here. And all together, the goggles will grow, and then we'll create a whole world where everybody lives in peace and love and light and abundance and health and joy, happiness. Yeah. It's possible. It's so possible. It's right there. We just have to do it. Yeah. And believe it's possible, because nothing can happen unless you believe it is possible.
That's right.
So you have to believe in the impossible sometimes.
Well, can I just add on to that a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Quantum physicists actually believe that in this reality there's only one of us. Now, whether that's you, me, or one of you guys, this is what they're kind of saying now. So when you actually do work within yourself, there is only that one person, because what I see in you, I see in myself.
Yeah.
And what I like about you is what I like about myself. Because every one of my thoughts is based on my experience. So, in theory, nobody could actually upset you. Because you're only allowing yourself to be upset.
Yeah. By yourself.
Because there's only one of us here.
Because there's only one.
If that
just
makes it
coming
easier
from
to
all
understand.
these different perception
It's all
points.
about mirror imaging. It's all
Yeah.
about different personas within yourself, which takes you back to the parts self.
Oh, I
constantly.
Feel the cogs in my mind.
The neural pathways.
I know. And I get that. So this is the oneness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why too we should take note. So if someone irritates you, what is it in them that they're showing that you have in you?
Exactly.
You know, or they make you feel good. What is making you feel good? So you've got something in you.
I can't live without him. Do you know what I mean? I can't live without her. I am this, I am that. You know, we just keep wanting to distract, where we're not looking at ourselves. Why do we want that? Why can't we live without that person? You know? Because that person doesn't really exist.
No.
Right? It's only a part of your internal workings that exists.
Wow. I love
that
this.
Needs work.
Yes. Yeah. So we're being shown something about ourselves by every person we interact with.
Yes.
You know, and if we can be aware and conscious as we're interacting, and especially the emotions,
That's
you know,
right.
go, how am I feeling? You know, maybe not while we're in it, but maybe after, reflect and go, how did I feel with that interaction? Did anything come up?
Yeah.
Was there anything I should look at about me? Not them, but me.
That's right. And now here's another beautiful story.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody hates the powers that be that are on top of the ladder, that are ruling the world, you know? However, you're the only one in this universe.
So they are...
So you put anger towards that person, you're directing fear, you are looping around again, and you are becoming a part of the system again, unconsciously. So you need to get to a point where you're clean and clear and actually grateful to the powers that be up the top for putting you through this lesson.
And to give them love, because if we give them love, they have to give it back to us.
No. You're actually giving yourself love.
You're giving yourself love.
That's right.
So you can only have it come back. Because this is something that I had sort of...
But you were right. Like, by sending them love is sending yourself love. Sorry, I shouldn't have...
No, that's right. But why, you know, this is something that I've really sort of thought about for a long time is that, you know, when I listen to people talking, or listen to the people who are me talking about the powers that be, often it's like, you know, all politicians are crooks, all, you know, they're liars and that. But they will be if that's what we create them as.
That's
right. So they will fulfill our belief system.
That's right.
So if we look at politicians, just for an example, and government, and go, okay, I used to think, because you can't just believe something straight out sometimes, sometimes we have to shift around. I used to think they were all liars and crooks, but now I believe that our politicians, the right people are coming in who have the right intentions for the people, not just about money. They don't lie. Everybody that's there, you know, they've got a conscience and they care about everybody. So that shifts the energy, and therefore the people who don't fulfill that belief system of ours won't stay there. They will drop out, and the people who do fulfill the roles that we're starting to believe and project into reality will come in. But while we're looking at something and going, you know, it's a negative, it's this, it's that, that's what we will create. Same as with war. If we keep looking at the wars going on in the world and we go, oh, it's horrible, this has happened, innocent people dying, that will perpetuate.
We're allowing it.
We are. We're creating it.
We are creating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whereas if we shift that and we go, we have had this way in the world, there have been dictators and warmongers, but now those people are dropping out. They're old energy, and new people are coming in, and they care about the people, and the wars are stopping. You know, the armies are demembering. What's the word? Disabling? No. Disarming? The armies are disarming, and now we're coming together to rebuild rather than destruct, and that will become our reality.
Yes.
So, and it's like, that is the way energy works. But we need to stop fueling the bad stories.
Well, we need to become aware of it, don't we?
Yeah.
That's number one, become aware.
And I can't call it bad, because there is no good or bad. It's the stories that we don't want to have in our experience.
Yeah.
So it's not good or bad, but we would have learnt a lot. So from what you don't want, you learn what you do want. You just have to learn to pivot from it and go, okay, I don't like that. Well, what do I like? And then give all your energy to what you do like.
That's great, yeah, because a lot of people go, I don't know what I want in my life. You know, you get to a point where you start opening a lot of doors and you go, I don't know where I'm at, I don't know what I'm doing. I think if you work out what you don't want in your life, it helps you work out what you do want in your life.
Yeah. So it's all valuable information,
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, everything is important.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, you create a goal and you think, I'm going to go straight to my goal. And then you look at it 6 months later and you go, wow, I've veered all the way around the longest way possibly to get to a portion of what I wanted to attract. But if you change your perception around and you think you've gone the long way, you actually look at it, and that's actually the shortest way you could possibly get there.
And
if
how
you
much
put a lot of energy into
it as you went. Like, going the long way is sometimes the best way, because you pick up stuff, you see things you wouldn't have seen. You know, I call it going the scenic way. But so instead of going as quick as I can, it's like, why not make it beautiful and take a journey?
I don't believe there is no quickest way. I believe the scenic way is the quickest way.
Yeah.
Because we just go, oh, we want that, but then we don't realise that we have to achieve this vibration, this experience, this harmonics, whatever, you know, and that is the quickest way, but it feels like the longest way. And that's why we should always be enjoying our journey.
Yeah, because it's not like, even like you were saying earlier, you get to the destination.
Are we there
and
yet?
then what?
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Oh, this guy's been saying everywhere, whenever, are we going? How far? How far are we away? Constantly. I think we all do that as kids too.
Yeah, I've been through that. But
Wow, I think we've had like an hour and a half. Is there anything else you would like to impart to beautiful people who are listening here? Anything that, like, for you has been something so valuable for you on your journey that you've gone, this has helped me, and I would like to pass this gift on to someone?
Parts of self is just phenomenal. It's opened my life up, and it's allowed me to actually start feeling. You know, as a mainstream male, I was told, don't cry, man up, you gotta harden up, drink a glass of concrete or something to harden up, you know?
Yeah, it's harsh.
And you get to a point where life just gets so tricky, and a part of you just wants to burst out, you know? People go, how do I release, you know? Tears is number one. That's how you release. That's, you know, memory is stored in liquid. So, through releasing through tears, you just, I don't know what's happening, but I just visualize all my negative stuff, all the stuff that I don't need anymore or want, just coming out through my eyes. And just hand yourself over. A good cry is great.
It is, yeah,
and
to release.
That's probably one of the greatest strengths I've developed over the time, is understanding it's not only okay to cry, but it's beneficial to cry. And I think the other thing too is it's beneficial to show your children that you can cry.
Absolutely.
For a masculine role or a fatherly type role, I think we just need to start demonstrating.
And that in our society for so long, you're right, it's like men have been told you've got to be hard, you can't cry, come on mate, pick it up. And that's so horrible, because then you just keep it all inside rather than allow it to flow.
Yeah.
Because that is resistance, because you're kind of stopping
Absolutely, it's
something
resistance.
that wants to flow out.
I'll just get that and just push it down further. I'll just keep compacting my emotions down until they become rock solid and get to the point of dis-ease.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that is, you know, I just was thinking then the flow, like tears, we have that mechanism and that ability to cry for a reason. And it's not solely just for little kids or women, is it? It's like that is part of the energy flow.
Not only that, but like I was talking about before, we've been raised by children, by society. So by us not crying, we're not able to cry and we're not able to shift. So when we don't shift, we then don't grow into...
we get stuck.
Yeah, and we don't become adults. We don't become responsible. We just blame. I can't cry because I don't know what my feelings are. You know? How many guys out there go to the pub and just want to just drink, you know? And that's the other thing too, you know? We start falling into positions of disconnection.
And numbing the pain and the emotions rather
avoidance.
Than allowing it to flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think, you know, if you can take that on in your life and know it's okay, you know, whether you're a man, a woman, you know, whether we've got any children watching here, it's okay to allow that flow of emotion.
That's a way of waking your emotions too, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Becoming actually sensitized to emotion, because we've just been numbing it all the time. You know, when a little child falls over, what's the first thing we say? You'll be right, you'll be okay.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's like, why are we suppressing our children? You know, we've been programmed. This is the programs we take on.
It is, the conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just suppressing.
Yeah, but we're changing that. Like, we have the ability to heal all our past generations and to free the generations to come. Like, we have that power right now in who we are to do that in this very moment right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
we choose it.
Ah, choice.
Yeah,
Very good.
we have choice.
Yeah.
You know, we've always had choice. I remember...
How do you choose?
You choose, you know, sometimes it is by knowing what you don't want, and it causes you to think, well, what do I want? So
even by finding out what you don't want to do,
yeah,
is allowing you to choose what you do want to do.
So that's a valuable part of, you know, the process, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's something, because when I was younger, I didn't realise I had so much choice. I kind of do recall, I know I resisted a lot and I bucked the system somewhat, but I just didn't realise the choices I had in life to kind of pave my way in my life as the way I wanted. Like, I'm realising it now. I'm like, how old am I? 48 now, and I'm really only just working it out in the last few years. Even though in hindsight I look back, I've always been on this journey. I always knew there was more to life. I knew it. I'm like, I know there's more than just what's on face value, but I didn't know what it was. And 40 odd years later, here I am going, I'm starting to see it now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you can just go to a PowerPoint and go, I want to raise my frequency and stick your finger in there. It'd be good if you could, but you know, I think this is the process. The process is to be at ease with yourself, have full acceptance of yourself, know that there's something greater within yourself, and the answers are from within.
Yeah,
I think
enjoy the journey.
And yeah, it's about being light-hearted and being joyful.
Wow. You know what? On that note, I think I'll say thank you for coming on and being part of this amazing conversation, organic conversation that just flows wherever it's going to flow. Because, you know, I said I had a few things written down, but then I didn't even look at that. I think we touched on just, you know, maybe some of that accidentally even. But just to kind of see where the conversation goes. And that was like, I love that gem that you've given beautiful people watching, you know, to feel, allow yourself to feel and allow yourself to release. That is so valuable for people to, you know, embrace that. And thank you. And
thank you.
I might call you back on another time. Maybe we could do a live. You know, when I had Molly come on here, we were talking and she was talking to everybody and she was like, you know, I put things in the comments, and then I'm like, oh, would it be awesome to do a live where we can actually go, oh, someone's asking you a question.
I think that would help conversation flow a lot more.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I'm open for it.
Awesome.
But also petrified.
Because there's growth there.
Yeah. But I'm quite happy to put myself in the uncomfortable places if I feel it's for a beneficial cause. Absolutely. Of myself growing.
For yourself as you grow and expand into the unknown.
But I would like to thank you for thinking of me and allowing me to come and grow. And to grow and talk. And grow and share whatever we've shared today.
Yeah.
I hope you guys have got something from this, because I'm all for distributing my knowledge, my understanding, and allowing. I want to see people grow.
Yeah. And we can all grow together, because that's what we're meant to be doing anyway.
Absolutely.
Bouncing off each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us for this conversation, and wherever you are, have a beautiful day, beautiful evening, and I'll be back another day with another beautiful person and another talk. Thank you.
Thank you.